This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven son. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Tuesday night, March the 9th. Beautiful day in this neck of the woods that we are in. Got up to the mid-60s today. Lots of snow melt. Lots of snow melt. It's almost gone down here. Who would have ever thunk? Joining me, as always, in the upper left-hand portion of the screen, coming to you deep from his underground bunker in the heart of Center County, Pennsylvania, the liberal bastion land, the non-genetically proven son.
Did not get to the mid-60s here today.
The golf course open?
Nope.
Nope.
Trust me, I've been checking daily because I'm really hoping they're open Thursday so I can get some sort of... Because we have a exploration day Thursday, so no classes.
Okay.
So I want to get on the course.
Must be nice. I got to work Thursday.
They probably won't open it until April because you'll ruin the course because it's soaked, probably.
Probably. So we got a lot to get to tonight. I know for the most of you, you're probably looking forward to the revealing of the bracket. But of course, we're going to make you wait till that. Got to get through the other stuff to get to the fun stuff. So we're going to start tonight talking about a 78-year-old man who just isn't himself anymore. At one time, he was kind of with it. Kind of. Was a senator for most of his life. Then he became a vice president. But he was always sort of a racist. Look at the one bill that he authored on the criminal justice reform. And he's now somehow, unbelievably, the president of the United States of America. America. Not sure if he actually won or not, but that's not the point that we're getting at. He's losing his faculties, to say the least. He appeared before cameras the other day, and I'm trying to find the video. It's weird that the video is no longer there. Interesting. Where he was speaking about the Pentagon. And the
former general, I keep calling him general.
We don't want to play that yet. Talking about the Pentagon and talking about the Secretary of Defense, and I don't know if you saw the clip. I'll play the clip. I don't know. You could tell the guy is losing his faculties. You know. Let's see here.
So I want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general. The guy who runs that outfit over there. I want to make sure we thank. The guy is losing his faculty. You know?
Whose volume is on?
The secretary for all he's done to try to implement what we've just talked about, and for recommending these two women for promotion. Thank you all. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to.
I mean, the guy just looks lost. That place over there.
President Biden.
Seriously? That place over there? It's called the Pentagon, sir. Doesn't remember the secretary that he nominated? He thinks he's the former general, you know, that guy. I mean, you kind of start to feel sorry for the guy, actually. You know, when you're in declining health. I mean, let's put politics aside for a minute. You kind of do start to feel bad for the guy. You know, end of life isn't the easiest thing in the world. Lord knows. I've seen it. Had to watch both of my parents. It's not fun, to say the least. But that's the way it is. The people you should be really mad at are his handlers. You know, obviously, people are telling him what to say. I mean, where's the press conference? Hasn't had a press conference yet, has he? And what do they tell you? Oh, he's too busy with the coronavirus to have a press conference. Sure, okay. Got anything to say about that? Non-genetically proven son.
I do not.
It would help if you would say something.
Something.
There you go.
We all know he's an idiot. Period.
I mean, I'd like to really know who's running things over there. I mean, it's
the vice president.
It's who knows.
I'm brainwashed. I like the National Women's Day idea and all, but I thought this is a day and age you weren't supposed to assume genders.
Well, yeah. National Women's Day was awesome, except there's not supposed to be women anymore, right? We should honor women every day. Think. Could us guys ever be a woman? No. No. Can you imagine a guy going through childbirth? No. No. But our friends on the Democratic side, you gotta love them. They try so hard and try so hard and try so hard. Then we got this guy. We all know who this guy is. I'll put it up in a second. Or at least people my age know who this guy is. We all know who this guy is, right? Right? Again, those of us my age grew up with this guy. We talked about it on the show a little bit last week. Pepe Le Pew. He's now getting X'd out of Space Jam 2. Not in Space Jam 2. Anybody out there actually going to go watch Space Jam 2?
No. Terrible actor. They got rid of one of actually a good character. Period.
So they say Pepe Le Pew, you know, little boys who watch Pepe Le Pew grow up to be rapists.
Are you a rapist?
I watched Pepe Le Pew. I don't remember raping anybody ever in my life. I mean, you know. Have you? mean, what is it with the left and banning cartoon characters and toys and all of that stuff? Seriously.
It's beginning to sound like the Soviet Union.
Seriously, what is it with the left banning all that stuff? They want to ban that because of rape. Rape, 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 rape. Can't have it. But are they going to ban this? Are they going to ban this guy? Huh? Huh? Nipple piercing guy? Are they going to ban him? Now today a sixth woman has come forward. 6. Alleging sexual misconduct against the good governor. Governor Nipple Piercings.
That's such a great picture you got of him.
I chose a good one, didn't I?
It looked like a news source always chooses the worst pictures of people.
And yet it's from MSNBC. Who would have ever thought? Can't you say he's the human equivalent of Pepe Le Pew?
Oh, yeah.
Can't you say that? The modern day equivalent of Pepe Le Pew. I don't see him cancel. He says, no, I'm not stepping down from being a governor. Now, I will say that the legislature in New York has filed impeachment charges against him, but I don't know what the law is in New York. Is it 2/3 of the vote of both houses? One house? Is it 50%? Is it 3/4? Don't know. Didn't look it up. Modern day Pepe Le Pew.
So what was the examples they gave of Pepe Le Pew that makes people pissed?
I'm assuming you never watched Pepe Le Pew.
Other than in Space Jam, no.
No. Pepe Le Pew, basically every cartoon about Pepe Le Pew was the same. He was a skunk. There was a female cat that had a white stripe that he thought was a skunk, and he was always trying to get with her.
Oh.
And he never accomplished the feat.
So that's funny.
Not according to the cancel culture.
I'm waiting for Frosty. He's naked. He's smoking a pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Pillsbury Doughboy, I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah. Frosty makes sense. Frosty makes sense. Naked smoking a pipe. Makes complete sense to me.
Rudolph, eventually. Excluded from a group. Different.
Is there any comments?
Other than the ones I've been reading, no. There was one ha-ha about it.
One ha-ha. Ha-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha.
Kiana says we're ruining her childhood.
Did you watch Looney Tunes, Kiana?
No.
Well, then how am I ruining your childhood?
Frosty.
I mean, I grew up watching Looney Tunes.
Hey, I could ruin your childhood. Pooh, he doesn't wear pants.
So, let's talk about now somebody who's a gentleman. Somebody who is helping his fellow man. And if you don't know who this guy is, you should probably learn who this guy is. He doesn't have to do what he's doing. The guy's rich. And he's becoming richer by the day. It's amazing what happens when you basically start a business in your parents' basement 15, 20 years ago, and you have the drive to stick with it. You get bought out by a company, and they give you stock, The stock was $30-some a share and then went to $3 a share. Now it's up at $112 a share. Guy's pretty rich. But he does stuff for the ordinary, average American. So if you don't know who this guy is, learn who this guy is. This is El Presidente, Dave Portnoy. What is this guy doing? This isn't the best picture of him either.
No, it's really not. He's doing pizza reviews.
Yeah. I mean, his shtick is doing pizza reviews.
Every week, I watch just about every single one of them.
Yes. And it just so happens that he did his 1,000th pizza review of a company called Calabria's, I believe, in New Jersey. Calabria's was set to shut down. They were going to close their doors. They couldn't afford to stay open anymore. He heard about how great their pizza was, went, did a review, gave them a great rating. Now they need to hire people.
8.9, you said.
8.9.
Basically, anything over 8 is amazing pizza.
He said he would have gave it a 9.1, but the sauce needed a little more tang to it.
He gave one a Penn State one like a 1.8. It's junk pizza.
He doesn't like Penn State.
He likes the campus.
What else is Dave doing? Have you heard of the Barstool Fund? Have you heard of that? He's accepting donations from ordinary, everyday people and is giving businesses that have been affected by the beer bug $20,000 a month to help them with payroll to stay open. And in fact, non-genetically proven son, you and I know a business that's receiving these funds. As much as I would like to say it's Phatts TV, it's not Phatts TV. Obviously, you don't know what the business is either.
He's giving Chaco's money every month.
He's giving Chaco's Family Bowling Center in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, $20,000. He asked for businesses just to submit videos. And they did. And he picked them. So they're getting, almost $250,000 throughout 12 months to help them stay open. We were just at Chaco's. My other video job is with the Pennsylvania Junior Bowlers Tour. We were just at Chaco's. Not this past Sunday, the Sunday before. Where I had a nice little conversation with one of the managers about this situation. The guy is a saint. I mean, yes, he's very opinionated. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being opinionated. He certainly knows business. He's so-so when it comes to betting sports or picking stocks. That was what he did. When, at this time last year, we were getting ready for the whole world to get shut down of sports. We're almost at the 1-year anniversary. So when sports got shut down, he started trading stocks daily in a little business that he just called DDTG.
Wait, you said 1 year almost?
Yeah.
2 weeks to flatten the curve.
2 weeks to flatten the curve, yep. So he started that. Where he just, online, on Twitter, every day, just talks about stocks. And it's more just to have fun. But he gets, thousands and thousands of people watching him every day. Then, he started doing what he called the unboxing.
Yeah, he's doing unboxings and frozen pizza reviews.
Yes, he started doing these things called the unboxings where businesses would just send him stuff to apartment. Like, he had this lavish apartment at the time in New York City, basically. And companies were just sending him their swag. He was literally getting hundreds of boxes every day. Hundreds. It would literally take him, and he would do this online every night, 3 to 4 hours a night, opening these boxes. And basically everything that was sent ended up being donated to local charities. Did he have to do all this? No. Again, he's helping his fellow man, and a little selfish. He's building his image at the same time. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Maybe he's going to run for real El Presidente.
You know, he actually did interview President Trump last year. He did.
I feel like I've seen that video.
It appeared. Didn't it appear last year? When did it appear? It was last year. Was it on Super Bowl Sunday? Last
Maybe.
year, was it? Might have been. But I don't think it was, because he wasn't big. You know, everybody didn't know him yet. So I think it was after that. But yeah, he didn't have to do any of that shit. But he did. And again, like, this went on for a couple months. He was doing this every night. His whole apartment was just stacked from the floor to the roof with boxes. He'd open it up. Oh, that's nice. Set it aside. And then the next day, people from his business would come in and just take the stuff and, you know, donate it. Think of the poor people who were having to deliver all that stuff every day.
Think about the people that had to carry it up to his apartment.
Yes.
Because a lot of people just would leave it in the lobby, like, here, come get it.
Yes. Well, you know, that's what would happen. I would be watching his, you know, Twitter feed for his stocks, and it's like every 2 minutes the buzzer would ring because something else was getting dropped off by this delivery service and this delivery service and this delivery service. Did he ever have to do any of this? No. Never had to do any of it. And again, little selfish reason to build his image. Nothing wrong with that. But think of all the people in this country he helped when he didn't have to do it at all. Dave Portnoy is an awesome American. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Look him up. When all the restaurants were shut down, as the non-genetically proven son said, he started doing frozen pizza reviews.
His favorite was Jack's.
One of his favorites was Jack's, yes. He actually did one of ours. He did Nardone's.
He gave Jack's a .02.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't send him one.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone was just sending him one. No, they wouldn't send him one because they had to feed America. I think that was their...
Yes, so somebody bought one and sent it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he gave it like .02 or something like that.
Yeah, I eat Jack's. He's like, look at this flop. Hated it.
Somebody sent him a pizza oven to make the pizzas in.
You get a big knife to cut them?
Well, yeah, he had a lot of that. Somebody sent him a samurai sword to open the boxes. Shockingly, he didn't lose a finger through any of this. It really is shock. So,
you got free dinner every day.
Yeah. So that is a great American. Now I want to go to the other end of the spectrum. And I want to talk about somebody who could only be labeled as an asshole. And even that might be too good of a word for this asshole. This guy is a public servant. So he serves the people. That is his job. He serves the people. And he's an asshole. He's a complete, utter asshole. And of course, he's from California. That's, you should have been able to guess that one pretty quick. So does anybody recognize this guy's picture?
Scrooge McDuck.
You may have heard him in the news last year about something else. Do you remember? Remember hearing something about a congressman was, doing the butt bongo fiesta with a Chinese spy? Remember that? That's this guy.
I do remember.
That's this guy. That's this asswipe. Eric Swalwell or something like that his name is. Yes. For years, he was hooking up with a Chinese spy. While he was on the House Intelligence Committee. Nice. And he's still on the House Intelligence Committee. In fact, he was one of the impeachment managers for impeachment round 2. But I want to bring him up for something else. And why I say asshole might be too good for him. How about a mama's boy asshole? How about a sissy boy asshole? How about you are not a man asshole, Eric? Now, why am I saying that? This really wasn't in the news that much, but I certainly picked up on it. Representative Eric Swalwell sues Trump over Capitol riot. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. He is suing Trump for he was emotionally distraught by the situation. What a fucking cat, and substitute cat for another word that means cat. Wussy with a P.
Your face is just funny. You're just like...
This guy is not... There is nothing masculine about this asswipe. I could almost guarantee you he's got a micro penis. I could almost guarantee it. Have I seen it? No, obviously not. But nobody with a big penis would act feminine like he does.
Ask the spy.
Wonder what her name was. Something Wong, maybe? I don't know. Who knows what her name was? She was good looking. She was. I'd have done her too. But if I'm in Congress, I'm not going to be doing somebody that works for the Chinese government. That's for sure.
I can't imagine he knew she worked for the Chinese government.
Who the hell knows? It wouldn't surprise me. He's a fucking Democrat. What do you expect?
True, they like China.
So yes, he's suing Trump for emotional distress. What guy, male, masculine, testosterone-filled male with the sacs that are between your legs, testicles, would do something like that? No. Only a sniveling little lady's boy, somebody who was probably beat up daily for his lunch money growing up, thought he was better than everybody else. You could just tell looking at him, he thought he was better than everybody else. Probably has an IQ slightly higher than a fucking turd. Maybe a little higher. Maybe.
A fly.
Seriously. Is there any gentleman out there that would actually sue for emotional distress? Because he thought he was going to die because a few people got into the Capitol building. I thought I was going to die.
They were all in a bunker.
Seriously? How many, people inside had guns ready to shoot the people that were coming in? We saw that famous picture of, the House chambers with people trying to break the doors and guns were, drawn right at them. But poor little Eric thought he was going to die. Aww.
When they were in a bunker underground with basically zero chance of anyone ever getting in there.
Oh, the poor little baby. Let's put it this way. Freshman Congressman Lauren Boebert probably has about 8,000 more times testosterone than Eric Swalwell has.
She brings her Glock.
Lauren Boebert, look it up. I know we're not supposed to talk about gender, but she's got female parts. My favorite congressman, by the way.
Because she brings her Glock to Congress.
Brings her fucking gun. That's my kind of representative. My kind. She decided to run for Congress when Beto was running for president, and basically he said, we're getting rid of all the guns. And he decided to go to her town one day, and she looked him in the eye and basically said, Beto, go fuck yourself. We're not getting rid of any guns. So she decided to run for Congress. She had to defeat a Republican who was in Congress in the primary, and she defeated him. And then she had to face the Democratic challenger, defeated them, and now she's in Congress. And I hope to God she stays in Congress for freaking ever.
Be the president. There you go.
My kind of congressman. Eric Swalwell. What a fucking wussy with a P. I swear to God. His mother, if she's still alive, and if she's not, God rest her soul. If she's still alive, has to be so freaking disappointed that God, even worse yet, if his old man is still alive. Like, my sperm produced that? Wussy boy?
Levine is more masculine than him.
What?
Levine is more masculine.
I saw a picture with her today. Remind me when I'm done here to talk about the picture I saw of her today. Him, her, whatever. But yeah, do you think his pop is, again, if he's still alive, if he's not, God rest his soul, I hope he's up there and not down there. They're coming to take me away. It's the YouTube police. Or are we still up? Hey, it still says we're live. So, seriously, if you were his father, wouldn't you be disappointed? Yeah, great, my son became a congressman. Yeah, but he's a fucking wussy with a P. With a micro penis. I mean, I would have been proud of him if he was banging a good-looking woman. I mean, he was probably paying her, let's face it. Well, paying her with secrets of the government. Do you really think she was probably, she's lying there, spread eagle. Is it in yet? Is it in yet? Oh, you were done 15 minutes ago? Oh. Oops.
You gotta say that in Chinese.
Something wrong. Is it in? Is it in yet? And he's fucking asleep because, Oh, it fell. Ooh. ah, ooh, ah. Oh, you're done. Gets an erection, it's like it's the size of a thimble. Levine. So, I saw this Facebook picture today. There was guys and girls, again, gender, sorry. They were standing in this picture. And everybody in this picture that had female body parts were standing with their legs parallel to each other. Okay, so...
Oh, I know it's...
Did you see this picture?
Yeah, I did.
All the guys in the picture were standing in a duck fashion with their legs out like this, like in a V.
How most people stand that are guys.
How do you think Rachel was standing? Do you think she was standing, he, she, whatever, was standing parallel or in the duck stance with those luscious hairy legs of hers? Want to take her home to mommy. Which way do you think she was standing? Or here? Parallel or like a duck? Go ahead, since you saw the picture. Like a duck. I will say, though, her feet weren't quite as wide as every other person that has the male genitalia that was in the picture. Look it up. I saw it somewhere today. So before we get to the bracket, I want to talk about one other thing. I want to talk about the stupidity of the common man.
So you're stupid.
Yes. Yes. But at least I'm not a wussy with a P. So, Burger King. Who would have ever thought we would have talked about Burger King on this show?
The onion rings are good.
Yes, their onion rings are good. I actually, if I was a wussy with a P, I'd sue Burger King because that's why I'm fat.
You'd probably sue me for emotional distress.
I'd sue your mother.
And her.
Not that I get anything.
$1.
If I was a wussy with a P, I'd sue Burger King for making me fat. Because I used to eat that shit a lot.
In 1990.
When I was skinny. And now I'm fat. But anyway, their London division. So Burger King England. Did you even know there was a Burger King England?
Yeah, I know there's a McDonald's England. They sell curly fries.
well, maybe you'll get a job over there.
At a McDonald's?
No, over in England, and you could...
Actually, they call it Mickey D's there.
Okay.
Or McDonald's.
So anyway, they post something on Twitter yesterday morning. Now, I don't know if it was 4 a.m. their time or 4 a.m. East Coast time or whatever. But all it said was, and it was a series of tweets. But only because people only read the first one. It said, all women belong in the kitchen. That's all it said. That's all it said. So you could imagine what the reaction to that was.
Yeah.
You could imagine the reaction to that. I found the tweet, and I just started reading the comments under that first tweet. Oh, I'm never eating at Burger King again. Oh, they're sexist. They're misogynist. Blah, 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 blah. Then you get to the next tweet in the series of tweets. That starts off, if they want to be. Here, Burger King was starting an initiative to get more women to become chefs. And supporting them with a financial donation to help them become chefs. Great thing, isn't it? I guess over in England, there's not enough female chefs. It's not a very diverse field, apparently. So they're going to do what they can to get more female chefs. And that's how they introduced this, whatever program, call it whatever you will. Now, was it the best way to put it out there? No.
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 No, I will not say the person that decided to, that came up with this, had a great idea. But it's amazing how people only read, like in newspaper articles, they only read the headline. In this, it was a series of tweets, and they only read the first one. You would have thought, the first thing, I got wind of this, I was listening to some stock market show that's live every day. It's on YouTube. And their first reaction was, well, Burger King must have been hacked. Because nobody would tweet this. Again, they only read the first tweet. Then they read the second one, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one. Then they understood. But oh yes, there was, at last look, they've since taken the tweet down. Again, wasn't the best way to come out with this initiative, I'll admit.
Yeah.
But it had, over 10,000 comments as of last night before they took it down. I looked at it, and yes. Oh, right, misogynist. Women, bashing women bashers. I'll never eat at Burger King again. Blah, 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 blah. Learn to read, people. Read the entire thing. And you would have got, most of you probably would have gotten the point. Some of you are, again, like Eric Swalwell. Eric wouldn't have got it. He's got the IQ of a turd, remember?
A fly.
So, all of you that are watching right now are probably saying, just get the fuck to the bracket. just we're here to see the goddamn bracket. Get the hell to the bracket. I had the bracket up, and now the bracket disappeared. So, Daniel, you're going away for a second.
Bye.
You're back.
Bye.
So, for those of you, to recap, that may or may not have been with us last Thursday, we showed 70 shows in the bracket, and we had to get rid of 6 of them, and then we had to decide who was going to be the number 1 seeds and who was going to be the overall number 1 seed. And I don't have the comments up, so you're going to have to watch the comment board. I just to talk about how stupid I am. Just how stupid I am. Whenever I'm talking to you, non-genetically proven son, I look down at the computer like I'm looking at you. It's like, obviously you can't see me looking at the computer. Look up at the camera. It's like, so if you ever like see me like do this, because like he's like right here, like here's my hand, he's like 10 inches underneath where my hand is on the screen. So do you remember what the number 1 seeds were?
MASH.
MASH was the overall number 1.
All in the Family.
All in the Family was number 2. And he hits a brick wall. Lucy!
I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy was 3, and we had a debate on 4.
Did we go? We didn't. Did we go to Cosby Show?
No,
I don't
we did
remember.
not.
No.
We did not go with the Cosby Show. We went with the other one. Do you remember who the other one was?
It'll come to me eventually.
Disappointing.
Yeah, why don't I just go look at the bracket and figure it out?
Disappointing. Very disappointing. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. Saturday, what a day. Grooving all week with you. Hey, the show's called Happy Days.
We went with Happy Days?
Yes, we went with Happy Days.
Oh, Happy Days went through my head, but I'm like, no, that's like a 4 seed.
We went with Happy Days. It was a toss-up between the Happy Days and the Cosby Show. And you didn't want to do the Cosby Show because of where Bill is right now.
Yes. He's not allowed to be a 1 seed because he's a little...
He's behind bars.
Behind bars.
Again, who knows? Does he belong there? Who knows? Yeah, this is the one thing, when there's allegations like this, even against Cuomo, I don't take an opinion. I wasn't there. I'll let the investigation take my opinion to wherever it should be. So, we got rid of the 6 shows. We got the number 1 seeds. Then, what we did was we took 5 pods of 12 teams. The first pod were going to be the 2 through 4 seeds. The second pod was the 5 through 7. The third pod was 8 through 10. The fourth pod was 11 through 13. And the fifth pod was 14 through 16. And then I was going to let a random number generator choose who it was. So I did them in like a snake order. So the first number that popped up would have been the number 2 seed going up against Happy Days, since they were the number, the lowest of the number 1. So I did it kind of like a snake. If you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean, non-genetically proven son? Think of if you're drafting teams. Team 1 goes first, Team 12 goes last in the first round, and in the second round, Team 12 goes first, Team 1 goes last. Yeah. Snake. So, without further ado, let's, drumroll, look at the MASH bracket. The MASH bracket. It is the MASH. It is the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash. Now, I will say there's some interesting matchup. It's in the world of accounting, believe it or not, I do have a job. I count. When you have to get audited, it's amazing when auditors, their selections that they make, which is purely at random, they always find troubling things to pick. The same thing happened with this random number generator. It made some very interesting matchups. And we'll get to them down the line. So, the overall number 1 seed is MASH. It's going up against the number 16 seed, It's a Living. For those of you that don't know It's a Living, it was out in the 80s. It was about women who worked in an upscale restaurant. They were waitresses. So it was mostly about, they were the main characters in the show. Then we got the number 8 seed, Green Acres. For those of you that know Green Acres, it was a show in the 60s primarily, maybe late 50s as well. Green Acres is the place to be. Fine living is the life. I mean, one of the Gabor sisters was one of the main characters. I don't know if it was Jaja or Eva or one of them. They're going up against the number 9 seed, the Jeffersons, because they're moving on up to the top, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. 80s show. It was an offshoot of All in the Family. George Jefferson, his wife Wheezy, and their son Lionel were in a few episodes of All in the Family, and then they had a spin-off show. Then we have the always dreaded 5 versus 12 matchup. Non-genetically proven son, if there's any thing on the message board, you gotta kind of tell me.
Got it.
So the 5 versus 12 matchup in this is, again, a show that they want to cancel. The Muppet Show. It's time to play the music. It's time to like. That's going up against a very funny, very underrated sitcom that at least I thought. It was called Soap. Soap was out in the 70s. I thought it was a hilariously funny show. It was basically the life of this particular family. Think of what's that show that they stopped making new ones now? It will be in our next bracket when we do current sitcoms. It's on USA a lot now. The guy who played in Married with Children is the father in this, and his one son is gay, and his daughter is married to a weird guy. Kind of like it was like that, where there was a bunch of different families. Like they were one family, but they were grandparents, kids, stuff. But they were rich, and I think one was a governor or an ex-governor, and it was. They also had a spin-off of a show called Benson, which I believe is in the bracket later. The Golden Girls, very funny show from the 80s. 4 old women. One of them being Betty White, who's still alive. All the rest of them have passed on. Hilariously funny show. Hilariously funny. Going up against Growing Pains. Growing Pains 80s show. I really didn't watch too much of it. Then we got the number 6 seed, The Facts of Life, 80s show. Against the 11 seed, Father Knows Best, 50s and 60s show. The number 3 seed in that bracket, The Andy Griffith Show. Going up against the 14 seed, The Addams Family. Ba-da-na-na. 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 When this family started, your mother probably farted. Well, I can't say the rest of it. I'll get kicked off of YouTube. Surprisingly, The Addams Family was only on for 2 seasons. Surprisingly. We had a choice when we were picking the shows. We either were going to do The Addams Family or we were going to do The Munsters, and we chose The Addams Family. Then we got the 7 seed, My 3 Sons, against the 10 seed, another 3. Three's Company. My 3 Sons, 50s and 60s show. Three's Company, primarily late 70s to an 80s show. Three's Company was pretty funny. It was about a guy who didn't have a place to live, so he pretended to be a homosexual so he could live with 2 women. Because basically back then, men and women living together were frowned upon. And then we got the number 2 seed, The Honeymooners. Very popular show, but they were only on for 1 season. But they made like 40 episodes. Don't know why it was only on for 1 season. It's a hilariously funny show. Going up against another funny show. Don't think it was all that popular. WKRP in Cincinnati. Primarily on in the 70s about a radio station in Cincinnati. Dr. Johnny Fever. So, that is the MASH bracket. Non-genetically proven son, first reactions. I know you don't know many of these shows, blah, 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 blah.
I think the Addams Family got a good draw.
It did. The Andy Griffith Show is a very popular show, I will say that.
I think it could make a run to the Sweet 16.
It's possible. It's possible. MASH is probably going to get through. MASH is going to get through the 8-9 seed. I could see that being an upset. I could see the Jeffersons getting through with that. The Muppet Show will probably beat Soap. Probably. I don't think a lot of people know what Soap is, but if they watched it, they would have liked it. The Golden Girls should win. Should. Facts of Life, popular show, but for a younger crowd when it was out in the 80s. It was about girls who lived in a boarding school, basically. Teenage girls. Until they graduated, then the show kind of moved on to other things. Again, the Andy Griffith Show, the Addams Family, non-genetically proven sons thinks that could be an upset. A 14 seed getting through there. My 3 Sons, Three's Company, that's a toss-up. Honeymooners, WKRP in Cincinnati. I think just because of the popularity of the Honeymooners, that will make it through, personally. Anything on the message board?
Nope.
So now we go to Happy Days, and this is the first of the interesting matchups. We got the 1 seed Happy Days against the number 16 seed Mork and Mindy. Now, why is that an interesting matchup, you say? Isn't that what you just said, non-genetically proven son?
Yeah, what's an interesting matchup?
It's an interesting matchup because you first learned about Mork on an episode of Happy Days. He was a space guy from outer space.
Josh has the Golden Girls to come out of that first bracket.
Ooh, it's going to be hard to beat MASH, but that would be an interesting Sweet 16 match between Happy Days and Golden Girls. I mean, MASH and Golden Girls. So, yes, so Mork, you were introduced to Mork on an episode of Happy Days. And then he got his own show. The 8-9 seed, Laverne and Shirley, extremely popular 70s show, Laverne and Shirley. That grew out of Happy Days as well. In fact, there was an episode where Richie was kind of set up on a date with Shirley, and the Fonz was kind of set up on a date with Laverne. And that's how you got introduced to Laverne and Shirley. So they grew out of the Happy Days. Going up against Webster, that was an interracial show, if I remember correctly. Webster was a young African-American black child who, was he adopted? I really never watched it. I think he was adopted by a white guy or somehow got brought up by a white guy. Very funny show. I just never remember watching it personally. The Wonder Years, very popular show. Fred Savage, Winnie. I don't know why people thought Winnie was a good-looking girl. I never thought she was, personally. The Bob Newhart Show, funny show. Funny show. I don't think it'll go anywhere in this bracket, though. Then we come to a show that's like in the underground, kind of say. The underground. A show that the non-genetically proven son likes.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
And that's Married with Children. We all know Married with Children. It used to be on Sunday nights after The Simpsons. In the 80s. The Simpsons will be in the next bracket because it's still going on and on and on. That show never ends.
And it kind of sucks. Josh says he hopes Married with Children wins.
So they go up against the Dick Van Dyke Show, older show, 60s, 50s. I think it was in the 60s. Probably Married with Children gets through there. Probably Married with Children gets to the Sweet 16.
And I'll call the upset if they make it to the Sweet 16 and Happy Days is still alive, they'll win.
You're calling the upset. Okay.
But it will be hard to beat Happy Days and Brady Bunch.
Okay. So then we got the bottom half of the bracket. We got the 6 seed Beverly Hillbillies going up against the 11 seed Perfect Strangers. Beverly Hillbillies, older show. Perfect Strangers, 80s show, I believe. Never really watched either of them. I mean, the Beverly Hillbillies were about, hillbillies that became rich and moved to Beverly Hills. Perfect Strangers were about, I think, 2 guys that were, I don't know if they were living together and their antics, I think, I don't know. Then we have another interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup.
And why is this one interesting?
You got the Brady Bunch against the Partridge Family. It's amazing how this random number generator picked this to be a matchup. Because they were basically rivals back in the 70s when both of these shows were on.
Oh.
The Brady Bunch was far more popular than the Partridge Family. Far more popular. You can still catch the Brady Bunch on today. You can still catch some episodes of the Partridge Family. In fact, if you go back and watch the Brady Bunch movie, the first movie, they had to save the house and they decided to go on to the singing competition and raise $20,000 because it was Jan's idea, blah, 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 blah. When they pull into the parking lot, you see a bus go by. a very colored bus. That's the Partridge Family bus. So they gave a little love to the Partridge Family in that movie. Interesting. I know who I would vote for. I like the Partridge Family. I watched the Brady Bunch growing up, too. Sherwood Schwartz creation. But the Partridge Family was pretty funny. Because you had, like, the ugliest kid alive in the show. Are you even paying attention?
Yes, I'm paying attention.
What did I just say?
You're trying to...
See, you weren't paying attention.
I can't make it word for word.
I said because you had the ugliest kid alive in that show.
That's what I heard, ugliest kid. I just couldn't remember the first part.
Poor Danny Bonaducci. God, I would love to say right now you were named after him.
Oh. Oh. I was named after Dan Boschman.
He was Bonaducci when he became a man, you know, he became more manly, but as a kid he had like really thick, long but not long in the back, like up at the top, red hair and lots of freckles, and poor Bonaducci. Oh man. Poor Bonaducci. Then we have an interesting matchup here. We got Night Court, which was a very funny 80s sitcom, going up against Alice, a very funny 70s sitcom. I don't know how many people watched Alice, though, but it must have been, because I believe it was on for 8 seasons when we went over how many seasons these shows were. I believe it was on for 8, so a lot of people must have liked the show that it got on for 8 seasons. Night Court, Judge Harold T. Stone. Remember Harold T. Stone? Dan Fielding, prosecutor. Always trying to get with any woman alive. Always trying to make a quick buck at anything, too. They had some really funny stories. One of their funniest ones was the episode where a hurricane was coming through New York City. Try to go watch that episode. That episode was pretty funny. Actually, it's a 2-part episode. A rookie cop busts what he thought was a house of ill repute because he heard like moaning coming from the house. And here it was 4 pregnant women going through Lamaze classes. And of course, he drug them into Night Court, and then all the women went into labor. So, of course, very, very funny. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then we got the Cosby Show versus One Day at a Time. Cosby Show was very, very popular in the 80s. Like I said, we could have flip-flopped between Happy Days and the Cosby Show, but the non-genetically proven son said go with Happy Days because of Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby being, where he is today. So I said, okay. Okay. We'll do that. So now let's go to the other. Oh, well, let's talk about this bracket. So who do you think's coming out?
Married with Children.
You do think the 4 seed's going to come all the way out of this bracket?
Yes.
Interesting.
If everyone knows who Al Bundy is, they know Al Bundy doesn't lose.
What? Well, he did score 4 touchdowns in a football game once.
Exactly.
Very young Christina Applegate was in that show. Very pretty. But yeah, like, I don't know. Al was just, nothing ever went right for Al. There was so many episodes of that was funny, but the one I always liked the episode where he ends up having to work at a gas station to pay off some debt. And the only shirt that they had the name Habib on it. So he was Habib.
Habib.
Did you ever see that episode?
No.
That's a funny episode. Habib. You know what? Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. I think Happy Days could. Is there any lower seeds that could come out of this? Even in its potential, Alice could beat Night Court. I'd love to see the Partridge Family beat the Brady Bunch. I don't know any any lower seeds that are going to win in any higher seeds that have a chance to win in round 1. I think round 1, this is a very chalky bracket.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we get to the Sweet 16, you could easily have Happy Days versus Married with Children. You could have the top 4 seeds in this going into the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our chalky bracket. But the non-genetically proven son likes Married with Children coming out of this bracket. Possibly. Alright, so let's go to the top of the other side. This was the overall number 3 seed of the number 1s. I Love Lucy. Lucy! If you're anybody, especially my age, you know this show. Lucille Ball, one of the funniest women ever in comedy. Of course, the show was a lot about her antics. Extremely funny show. Very funny. I can't really say enough good things about the show. It was hilariously funny. Against Charles in Charge. Scott Baio, Scott Baio used to be Chachi on Happy Days. Then when that show ended, he became Charles of Charles in Charge. It was a good show. It was on in the 80s. It had a pretty good run. Basically, he watched over a group of kids for parents who were never home because they were always working, basically. So Charles was in charge. Then we have a very interesting matchup in the 8-9.
And why is this interesting?
Well, it's because these were both like this is a classic 8-9 matchup. Classic, because it could easily be Sanford and Son could have been the 8 seed and Odd Couple could have been the 9 seed. Like,
okay.
It's just a very classic 8-9 matchup where I think Sanford and Son will probably win. But the Odd Couple was a very funny show. Odd Couple was about 2 guys living together in New York City. One was a neat freak, the other was a slob. Felix Unger and I forget the other guy's name. Sanford and Son was about junk dealers, a father and son junk dealer. Esther! Red Fox. Funny actor. Hilariously funny actor. The opening song for that show is pretty cool, too. No words. Just... Bum, bum, ba-na, 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 da-na, da, da-na, 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 da, da-da-da, da-na, da-da-da. Okay, anyway. The 5 vs. 12. Family Ties. Very popular 80s show. I actually think they got stiffed being a 5 seed. But we put them on the 5, 6, 7 line and 8. They ended up being a 5. They could have easily been a higher seed. Easily. They're going up against a incredibly funny show that I don't think many people know ever even existed.
I know which one you're rooting for here.
Actually, I liked both shows. I really did like both shows.
Becky Hill was like your favorite comedy.
It is. It is. And the fact that they had a lot of scantily clad women.
Oscar Goldman. I don't know what that means, but
The Oscar was the other guy in The Odd Couple.
Oh, okay.
Who said that, by the way?
Tom.
Thanks, Tom. I see my sister's watching tonight. Thanks, Roz, for not watching. When you just called me at 6 o'clock and I told you, watch the show tonight. I liked Family Ties. It was 80 show. I wanted to be Alex P. Keaton. Smart as a whip and business savvy. It was a good show. But yeah, the Benny Hill show I think was on for 19 seasons, but they didn't make that many episodes. It was actually a British comedy show. It was a British skit comedy show. But it was hilariously funny if you like that kind of stuff, which we could have actually put in a lot of skit shows, and I really didn't put many in. Like I could have put Laugh-In in there, and a few more skit shows, but I didn't. But I wanted to include Benny Hill because I like the show. Then we got Leave It to Beaver, Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. Classic 50s show. You know, sitcoms in the 50s were very different than sitcoms at other times. You know, like these 50s sitcoms were very wholesome family type sitcoms.
It's probably really dry comedy.
It was. Going up against Benson. Benson is that spinoff from Soap that I talked about. Benson was the butler, and he got his own show. It was decently funny. It was on in the early 80s, if I remember correctly. Could be an interesting matchup because, again, if it's the older generation that votes, I would think Leave It to Beaver would probably win, all because it's a classic 50s show. Actually, Jerry Mathers, I believe, was on an episode of Married with Children, by the way.
Solid.
Then we get to the bottom half of the bracket. And this is an interesting matchup. Again, not because of anything about the shows with each other. You had Mama's Family, was an 80s sitcom with Vicki Lawrence, played Mama. They were a Southern family, and it was just about their antics. Going up against a cult classic sitcom called Welcome Back, Kotter. Welcome Back, Kotter. He was a teacher who went basically to that school when he was in school. Then he left, he escaped, and then he became a teacher and came back and started teaching at the school. 70s sitcom with John Travolta. He was in it. We all know John Travolta. Saturday Night Fever. Yes. Pulp Fiction. Yes. Well, he was in Grease. You know, they want to cancel that. He was in Welcome Back, Kotter.
More rape culture.
Huh? What?
More rape culture.
Yes. Vinnie Barbarino. I smell upset there. I do. Then we got the Mary Tyler Moore Show against Punky Brewster in the 314. Mary Tyler Moore Show, 60s show, popular for the 60s. Punky Brewster, I believe early 80s. I didn't think it was really all that popular. But who knows? So then we got the 7-10 seed, and I'm calling upset here too. We got Mr. Ed, the 7 seed, against Hogan's Heroes. Hogan's Heroes is another like underground classic comedy show. It was about Mr. Ed was about a talking horse. A talking horse from the 50s, I believe. And Hogan's Heroes was a sitcom in the late 60s through the mid 70s, I believe. About prisoners in a POW camp that basically were winning the war against Germany. The whole war was run out of this POW camp. It was funny. With Bob Crane as the lead actor in that movie, with Sergeant Schultz and Colonel Klink. So it was a German POW camp. And, you know, the Allies basically won the war because of what all these guys did. It was a funny show. I liked it. Bob Crane then ended up getting murdered. It's a shame. He was a really good actor. Richard Dawson, a younger Richard Dawson was in that show. Richard Dawson would go on. He was on Match Game all the time, game show, and then he went on to host Family Feud. He was the original host of Family Feud. Then he was in that one movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I forget what it was called. He passed away many, many years ago. And then we got the 215 seed. We got Make Room for Daddy. And I put that in there only because the name of the show was great. And believe it or not, it got to be a number 2 seed. We put it that high because the thing was on for like 13 seasons. It was also known as a different name. What was the name? Non-genetically proven son? The Danny Thomas Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Danny Thomas Show. So we use the other name, Make Room for Daddy, because it sounds kind of, daddy. Going up against the Monkees. This could easily be an upset. Easily be an upset. Now, the Monkees wasn't on for all that long, but it was very popular, and I think the people who are going to be voting in this poll. Somebody up there who's driving down Atherton agrees.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about the Monkees, little trivia, they were actors. They were not singers. They had to learn to sing. And they became pretty good singers. But they were actors. They had no, they didn't really know how to sing. Very interesting. So, what do you think about this bracket?
Huh? Sorry, you lagged out there.
What do you think about this bracket?
I don't think this bracket has a lot of, so to say, meat. I think it's a lot of, and then I Love Lucy.
See, I think this is the bracket that there's going to be a lot of upsets.
This, I don't think it matters, because once we get to the final 8, it's going to be I Love Lucy versus something.
Well, in the final 8, who would it be?
I Love Lucy and maybe, I don't know, you seem to like...
I mean... In the final 8, you would have either Mama's Family, Welcome Back Kotter, Mary Tyler Moore, Punky Brewster, Mr. Ed, Hogan's Heroes, Make Room for Daddy, or the Monkees.
You seem to like the Kotter one.
I do. I do. That could make a run.
I don't know if the Monkees, if they do beat Make Room for Daddy, I feel like Hogan's Heroes then would beat them. Just based on I don't even know these shows at all.
Uh-huh.
I know I Love Lucy. That's about it.
Okay. So, again, it's hard for me to pick a favorite in this bracket. This bracket, to me, is the one that's wide open. I could see...
One of us thinks that way.
What?
At least one of us thinks that way.
I could potentially see I Love Lucy losing in the second round. I could definitely see I Love Lucy losing in the third round.
What, to Leave It to Beaver?
In the third round? No, I think Family Ties makes it to the Sweet 16.
Oh.
That was a very popular show. Again,
Josh he liked I Love Lucy and maybe the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Josh, have you ever even seen an episode of the Mary Tyler Moore show? Honestly, be honest. Have you ever seen an episode of the Mary Tyler Moore show? Be honest. Because that show ended, let's see here. What year were you born? 1990? That show had to end, 20 years before you were born? Look, Google that quick. Find when the Mary Tyler Moore show, when it was on. It might have been on later, into the later 70s than that.
70 to 77.
Okay, so there you go. It was if the Mary Tyler Moore show was born in 77, it would have been hitting puberty when you were born. Think of it that way. Think of it that way. I think anything. I think I Love Lucy could come out of this bracket. I think Sanford and Son could come out of this bracket. I think Family Ties could come out of this bracket. I think Leave It to Beaver. I think Welcome Back Kotter. I think Hogan's Heroes, Make Room for Daddy. It could even be the Monkees might actually come out of this bracket. To me, this bracket is completely wide open, and I love it. But that's just my opinion. What the hell do I know? Watch, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the Sweet 16. That's usually what happens when I think it's a wide open bracket.
I would like to Make Room for Daddy get it out of this one just because of the name.
Just because of the name. All right. So now let's go to the All in the Family bracket. Now, before I show this bracket, it just so happens that last Friday night, now we did a whole segment when we were going through these shows on Thursday about how funny All in the Family was and how before its time it was and how those episodes could never air, like All in the Family could never be on TV today. And I'm sure there's not one person who would disagree with that statement. And I brought up the episode with Sammy Davis Jr., which is probably the funniest episode of All in the Family. For those of you that need a refresher, Archie Bunker was basically a bigot, kind of. You know, not a serious, but he just felt, whites were better than blacks.
By the way, Josh said no, but it's a 3-seed. It's supposed to be kind of popular. Maybe I'll be right.
Well, it was popular. So he was working a second job to earn some extra money, and he was driving a cab. And one of his fares one day was Sammy Davis Jr., who left his briefcase in his cab. So Sammy actually comes over to Archie's house to pick up this briefcase, which wasn't at his house at the time. It was coming from the cab stand to his house. And needless to say, there was, a good 15 minutes of the show was Sammy at Archie's house. And you can only imagine how the conversation went. Now, you also have to remember that Archie's daughter, Gloria, and her husband, Rob Reiner's character, who Archie called Meathead, are very liberal in the show. Very liberal. So you could just imagine how it, and like at one point Archie looks at Sammy and goes, you're a credit to your race. And like Sammy autographed a picture, to the whitest guy I know. That's how he autographed the picture.
Archie asked him, so how'd you go Jew or something?
Yes, because he converted to Judaism as well.
It's like, why? Like, how'd you go Jewish? Yeah, you made me watch this episode, by the way.
Yes. So at the end of the episode, there's a picture being taken, and Sammy says, I want this picture's for me. And right as he turns to take the picture, Sammy turns and kisses Archie on the cheek. And the whole crowd, because they were always filmed before a live studio audience back then, the crowd just erupts in laughter. And it's like they stay in that pose for 15 seconds, too. So, it just so happened that the next night, that Friday night at midnight, that episode was on. So I messaged the Non-Genetically Proven and said, I'm like, watch this episode. So he didn't watch the episode. Yeah. Friday night at school, I'm sure he was, he's 21.
All right.
So I told him, though, before Tuesday, our show on Tuesday, to watch the episode. So what did you think of the episode?
I just thought it was pretty messed up, but it's funny. It's stuff that I would joke about with friends that obviously know I'm not being serious.
Yes.
But if I said that to some random person, I'd be scared to get stabbed.
Uh-huh.
Some of that stuff was all right. Wasn't the Jewish one or the white guy. What else? He's like, I'm not a prejudice.
Yeah.
I'm not prejudiced. I forget what he said.
But
or when the two black guys shook hands, he's like,
Yeah. Or when he went to take a drink and Sammy had already drank from that glass or something.
Yeah, he's like, no.
But it was really funny when he autographed the picture and said, to the whitest guy I know, and Archie took that as a compliment.
Yeah.
So, but you agree they could never put that show on today?
No, at least not that specific episode. You kind of can't really joke about race or sexuality anymore.
Yes. But can you imagine how great the world would be if you could put stuff like that on TV?
It'd be great.
How funny. Like, nobody took that stuff seriously back then. It was all comedy. And that's what made Carroll O'Connor great, the guy who was Archie, because he was completely the opposite kind of person in real life. And he played that character to a T. It was great. And that's why it's a number 1 seed, the overall number 2 seed in our bracket. So it's going up against Chico and the Man. Chico and the Man. I can't see the All in the Family losing to Chico and the Man. Sorry. By the way, Chico and the Man, Chico, or the Man, was played by the same guy who was the grandpa, who was Grandpa Joe in Willy Wonka.
Okay.
Ah, a little trivia for you.
The guy who laid in bed for 5 years and all of a sudden just got up.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
20
And
years.
then just all of a sudden just got up, was fine.
Yes, I still wonder where they peed.
I don't.
They never got out of bed. Where'd they pee?
Or poop.
Or poop. God forbid they wanted to rub one out at night.
There was 2 women in the bed, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, yeah, their wives were in the bed. I wonder if they swapped. Maybe. What are you looking at that you like are turning away from the camera all the time?
Bowling right there.
Fuck bowling.
Bowling.
Then
I'm
we haven't.
listening to you talk about sitcoms. I can't. Do I have to look at the sitcoms?
Well, you could at least like make it look like you're like paying attention.
I am.
Then we got Barney Miller and Different Strokes. This is another classic 8-9 matchup. I think Different Strokes is going to come out of this. But if I voted, I would definitely vote for Barney Miller. I like Barney Miller. It was a show about New York City detectives and the antics that went on at the 12th precinct. Different Strokes was a white guy, Mr. Drummond, and his daughter who adopted 2 black kids. And you had Arnold, who was basically the main character of the show, and he would always go, "What you talking about, Willis?" Willis was his older brother. "What you talking about, Willis?" And Arnold was very similar to Webster. They were very short. Which, by the way, non-genetically proven son, Arnold was in an episode of Married with Children.
That's fine.
As well. So I think Different Strokes will probably win that, but again, if I voted, I would vote for Barney Miller. Then we got Bewitched against A Different World. Bewitched, the genie, or she used to wrinkle her nose. Against A Different World. I really don't know much about A Different World. Please Google A Different World and tell me what it was about. Why I look stupid here.
A different world. Denise Huxtable is a different word. Predominantly black. Hillman.
Okay, so it's a
different world.
It's a spin-off of the Cosby Show.
Is a different? Yeah, in this popular Cosby Show spinoff.
Yes. Now I remember it once you said it. Yes. Yes. Cosby Show spinoff. Then we got the Donna Reed Show against Good Times. Interesting. Good Times was a 70s show. Very funny, about basically a poor black family, basically. And one of the sons was J.J. Walker, Dynamite! That was his line. Dynamite! Donna Reed Show was, I think, mostly in the 50s and the 60s, so that could be a potential upset, because I don't think a lot of people know about the Donna Reed Show, or at least maybe would have heard of Good Times. And if they never heard of either, they just might like the title Good Times. Which, one of the shows that we left out, which I could have easily put in, was What's Happening. That was a very funny show. In fact, I probably should have found a place for What's Happening. I'm surprised I didn't. And then we got the 6-11 seed. We got Full House against Beavis and Butthead. Now, I already know who's, who the non-genetically proven son is going to at least go to the final 8 in this bracket.
Yeah, whoever comes out of those two. Beavis and Butthead versus Full House right out of the gate. My favorite matchup so far.
Why do you like Full House?
I just know it was popular.
Do you have a thing for Candace Cameron or something?
I've never watched a single episode of Full House.
Do you have a thing for the Olsen twins?
I don't know.
They came out with Fuller House recently.
That I know.
Okay. Again, probably depends on who's voting in this bracket. If it's a lot of guys, I would expect Beavis and Butthead to win. If it's girls, I expect Full House to win. For those of you that don't know Beavis and Butthead, it was on MTV. It was a cartoon show, basically. And they played music videos, and there was a little storyline in it. Similar to, like, South Park kind of story. The gym teacher in Beavis and Butthead was great. He was, like, ex-army. And Beavis and Butthead are very skinny kids. Very skinny cartoon characters. And there's one episode where the gym teacher, they're in gym class, and he's telling Butthead, kick me in the jimmy! And, you know, they have this, like, laugh. Beavis and Butthead had this weird laugh. And he's like, kick me in the jimmy! So he finally kicks him in the jimmy, and he's like, his face turns red. He goes, yeah! He's like, kick me in the jimmy!
All right.
Yeah! But the most famous Beavis and Butthead is when Beavis was the great cornholio. I need teepee for my bunghole. Any clue what that means, non-genetically proven son?
I need TP for my bunghole?
Yes.
I have ideas.
And your ideas are probably right. What does it mean?
You go ahead.
I am the great cornholio. I need teepee for my bunghole. Well, what is a bunghole?
A booty hole.
No. What? A what?
A booty hole.
Oh, well, no.
Huh?
Other hole?
Oh.
TP would be toilet paper. TP, toilet paper. TP.
Yeah.
I am the great cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. He says that in a lot of episodes. But anyway. Then we got a very popular show called Cheers. Cheers. About people sitting around a bar. Basically, that's where a lot of that show took place. Sitting in a bar. Going up against Alf.
You made like a big push for Alf.
What's her name? Oberst. Ken Oberst's wife.
Oh.
She made a big push for it. Alf, an alien that liked to eat cats, basically. But could never get his hand on a cat. Then we have another underground one, Taxi. Very great cast was in Taxi. Going up against Who's the Boss? And why is this an interesting matchup?
I don't know why.
The main character in Who's the Boss was a character in Taxi. Tony Danza was in both shows. Taxi was a 70s show. Who's the Boss was an 80s show. Who's the Boss was kind of similar to Charles in Charge. He was like in charge of the house, and he like wasn't related to these people at all, from what I can remember. And Taxi was about the antics that went on in a taxi stand with Andy Kaufman as the guy who fixed the cabs. And Christopher Lloyd was in it. You know, Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. Danny DeVito, short guy, he was in it. Judd Nelson was like the main character. He was dry humor. What was the girl's name? She was really pretty. Mary Lou Henner, I believe that was her name. Somebody correct me or say I'm right on that. Mary Lou Henner, I believe. And then we have the number 2 seed. Of course, it's going to be Gilligan's Island. Classic. Another Sherwood Schwartz show. You know, that Gilligan's Island is one of my mystery questions of life.
How they have a change of clothes.
How they have a change of clothes since it was a 3-hour tour. Going up against Get Smart, which is kind of like a comedy offshoot of 007. Sean Connery, you know, 007. Kind of, sort of. With Agent 99 and, you know. I don't see an issue with Gilligan's Island, like, that should blow away Get Smart, but... So... I could see some some upsets in this bracket, but I think the final 8 in this bracket will be All in the Family and probably Cheers. I would think, especially for people that like actually know these shows. Cheers was incredibly popular, very popular. Or it could be Gilligan's Island. That was popular.
Full House.
You know, the question growing up was, were you a Ginger or a Mary Ann guy? I was a Mary Ann guy. I thought she was really pretty back then. So that's the bracket. That is the bracket. So, what we are going to do is... you're going to actually have 9 days to vote. 9 days. But we're going to start the voting tonight on just the left side of the bracket. Just the left side. So the MASH bracket and the Happy Days bracket. All voting is going to be online. What's the name of the website? I sent you the link. What's the name? Just tell me the name of the website.
It is called PollTab.
PollTab.com. That's the name of the site. I will post the link on all of our Facebook stuff. The Non-Genetically Proven Son will post the link repeatedly to his Snapchat and his Instagram and all that stuff. So what's going to happen is you are going to be able to vote on the left side of this bracket starting tonight through next Thursday at 6 o'clock. On this Thursday show, when that's over, you will be able to vote on the right side of the bracket until the following Thursday at 6 o'clock. You cannot see the results of it until the polls close. I can't even see the results of it until the polls are closed. They close at 6 o'clock on Thursdays. So on next Thursday's show, we will go over the results of the whole bracket for the first round, and then you will have a week to vote on the second round. And so on and so on and so on. Until we crown our champion. And then we will do it all over again for sitcoms of the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. Unless if I only get 3 or 4 votes, then I'll say it's not worth it. Anything else on the message board?
Nothing new.
Nothing new. And we used to get a lot of comments on the message board. I'm very disappointed. Extremely disappointed. All right, so that is our show for the night. Look for this link. It'll be on my personal Facebook page, the PA Phatts group page, the PA Phatts standalone page. Like I said, the Non-Genetically Proven Son will post it on his Snapchat, his Instagram, and any place else where I could post it, it will be posted. So, until Thursday, when we find something else to talk about. Actually, I do know what we're going to talk about Thursday. Thursday's show is going to be predominantly sports-oriented. We will be talking about conference tournaments for college basketball. Since, like, the big conferences start tomorrow, I believe. I know the Big Ten starts tomorrow. And then next
Bold
Tuesday.
predictions for that conference.
What?
There's some big, bold predictions for that conference about who's going to be making a run.
And who do they think is going to be making a run?
They have Ohio State and Illinois in the title match.
Who's they?
I forget.
Okay.
Might have been ESPN.
Okay. Well, I'm smart they didn't have Penn State.
They had them losing to Wisconsin in the second round.
Oh, hey, at least they make it to the second round.
Oh, they had to beat Nebraska. And they're playing pretty good all of a sudden. A little too late. Could have done that 5 games earlier. You could have made the NCAA tournament.
Didn't they play like round 1 last year and then that's when it got canceled?
They were the 4 seed. They had a bye to like the.
No, I'm saying the Big Ten tournament.
They played round 1 and then they canceled
it. Yeah, because the guy from Penn State fell like 1 or 2 points short of being the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah, and they didn't. So yeah, he was like 3 or 4 points, and they never played the Big Ten tournament, and they never played the NCAA, and he would have easily had it.
Well, yeah.
I feel so bad for that.
Yeah,
because it doesn't end up beating him.
Yeah, but that's the way it is. All right, so we will be talking predominantly sports on Thursday, and then obviously next Tuesday we will be going over the NCAA bracket. So we'll think
of perfect bracket, so just follow me.
So we'll be thinking of some kind of fun contest to have.
I'm telling you right now, how Ohio State losing in the first 2 rounds?
They can't lose in the first 2 rounds.
In the NCAA tournament?
They can't lose in the first 2 rounds. It's a single elimination tournament.
Yeah. So have them either losing in their first game or their second game.
That's not what you said. You said have them losing in the first 2 rounds.
Oh, whatever. They probably won't lose their first game because they're probably going to be like a 2 or a 3 seed. But then the second game, we'll see who they face.
Okay. So we'll think of some kind of contest, where you have to fill out your brackets and submit them. We'll do something. I really got to get like Phatts TV shirts made or something.
Just don't do it me what I did like 3 years ago. Had Michigan State winning the whole thing and they lost in the first round.
Yeah.
that wasn't good.
Yes. So we'll think of some kind of contest to happen. All right. So kept you guys long. Jesus Christ, went 1 hour and 45 minutes tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Is there anybody still watching?
I don't know.
That's a long.
They are.
Yeah, it's a long time for us to go. What has Josh been saying? Beavis and Butthead versus Full House right out of the gate. My favorite matchup so far. Oh, you were reading what Josh said. I thought that.
Yes.
I thought that was you. I thought that was what you were saying.
No, I've been reading Josh's comments.
Okay, got it. All right. So until we see you Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Yes. And remember, as always, where we go one,
we go on.
see you Thursday.